video. So really quickly want to talk about what I'm thankful for. And I think this is really, really important because many of us are very blessed in what we have the ability to do. We're blessed to be able to have we're blessed to be self-employed. We're blessed to have some level of freedom around our time. We're blessed to, in some scenarios, be able to make our own schedule. And we're blessed to be able to be in a leadership capacity and be able to help and bless other people. That is a blessing to be able to do that. And so that's why I think it's really, really important to give thanks, not just once a year, but really every day. But we're going to kind of talk about it because it's this time of the year where people kind of give thanks. And we've been consistent in doing this on this channel for the past 2 to 3 years. I want to thank everybody that's done business with me. I want to tell them that I really appreciate everything that they've done. I don't take the money that is exchanged with me for granted. We try to make sure that we give more value than what has been exchanged. Very, very passionate about what we do and getting the change in people. So we want to thank everybody that has actually done business with us. We want to thank the people that have helped us in what we're doing, that have been instrumental in helping us keep this going since 2019. Everybody that's played a role in that, we very much appreciate their time, their effort. We appreciate their counsel because I can't do this alone. I do need feedback. I do need help. And so the people that really understand what this is really all about, because they actually have been engaged in it, they've been behind the scenes, they know what this is really about, because a lot of people on the outside looking in, they really don't know till they get behind the scenes and they kind of really see, or they have experience in this particular, I would say, position to where you're empowering people, you're counseling people, you're teaching people, you're leading people. The average person doesn't kind of understand what comes with this, especially if you're going about it in a way in which it's about actually getting the result, not just being self-centered and promoting yourself. So thank you for everybody that's helped me. I want to give a special shout out to a person who has been doing business with me for, I would say now, almost 10 years. And that person is going to be Miss Katrina Alexander. And I met Miss Alexander in a BOB group on Facebook. This was now probably about a decade ago. It was created by this guy out of Philly, and that's kind of how I met the people from By the Hood in that same group. And we got connected in that group. And then I think eventually I left that group after a few years, and we stayed connected on social media. However, Miss Katrina Alexander has done business with me for 10 years. And it's very rare. That's something I talk about on my Patreon, is lifetime value of a customer. It is very rare to have somebody perceive so much value in you over that length of time. I'm very, very humbled that she has seen that level of value in me for this amount of time. We have been doing business together longer than some people stay married. That's just a reality. And that's something I really, really appreciate, because it's really been a big part of my personal development. Is how can I continue to develop myself in a particular leadership area? How can I continue to develop myself as somebody that knows what I'm talking about? Because when me and Miss Alexander kind of got connected, I was doing Facebook ads. And she was one of the few people, I would say, in my sphere of influence and my network on Facebook that really recognized me as somebody in the Facebook ad space that can help her solve some of her problems. Many people just couldn't perceive it. And that's kind of been the story of my life, to where I've been challenged to get people to really understand what I can do to really help them, because they're often not there yet. What made Miss Alexander different was she was at a certain level as a business person to where what I was doing could help her. It's kind of like a sports performance coach. If you're just trying to figure out how to lose the next 20 pounds, you don't need a sports performance coach, because you're just trying to figure out how to lose the next 20 pounds. Sports performance coaches for people that have been in shape for an extended period of time, and they're trying to figure out, how can I get to the top level of my sport? And that's something I had to understand, was that I was coming in at an expert level to a lot of people who were still very much at the beginner level. However, because she was at a higher level of development, she understood what I brought to the table. So we first started doing business, around me helping her understand the benefit and the power of Facebook ads. And then once I kind of moved out and transitioned out of that particular space and went into this option space, she also did business with me in the option space. She has done business with me for now a decade. And I really, really appreciate that, because me wanting to have long-term customers, but me also wanting to make sure that I'm continuing to add value to the people around me has made me make sure that I'm constantly developing myself. So this is why I'm always reading. I'm always studying. I'm always trying to figure out what can I do to develop myself to become better, because I didn't want my relationships to be flash in the pan. I know that kind of business model, the way you just burn through people because you believe the market is so big it doesn't matter. I always like the businesses that do long-term business with folks. That's always been my type of business. But we do have a business model to where you know you're going to churn so many people, but you know the market is so big, it doesn't matter if you have an attrition rate every month of 40%, because the market is so big, you go get you another 40% every month. I just never wanted that type of business model. However, what makes it work is she continues to see the value in me to keep doing business. So first, Miss Alexander is not a fly-by-nighter from a business standpoint. So we're having a business conversation now. She's not a fly-by-nighter. She's not here today, gone tomorrow. She's not distracted. She really knows what she wants and she's going after that. Okay, so that's on her end. On my end, I kept developing myself to continue to add value to where she saw value in my products and my services and my offers. And that's me continuing to work on myself. She's not the kind of person where she just wants to hang out and see what she can get for free. And that's really what separates her from the pack. If I had 1,000 customers like Katrina Alexander, I would be a lot more effective in the space. It is not to attack anybody. It's just the reality of the situation. That's just the reality. So I always want to make sure I show her that appreciation because, it's been an extended amount of time to where she's seen value in me. She hasn't shown up and then disappeared and then shown back up. We've always been in contact. In fact, I've even done business with her. She's helped me in certain things around stuff that can improve my life, because you're talking about somebody that is extremely accomplished, even though she doesn't present herself in public as I'm on this certain level, but she is on that level. But she's very humble in making sure that she doesn't present, but yeah, she's on that level. And so that's what I want people to understand. There was a entertainer that was talking about, all these women on YouTube and Instagram talking about what they got. And he was like, yeah, I am connected to this woman and she really does have it like that, but she doesn't present it like that. Miss Alexander is extremely accomplished in what she's been able to do with her and her family, but she doesn't really throw it in people's faces like that. And so she's been a benefit to me to where she's giving me counsel and giving me insight on certain things because she's been there, done that. She has a track record of being in there, done that, of doing it. She has a track record going on decades of being able to be successful, being able to help other people become successful, being a member of a winning team. Like, she has all these things going for her. So she's been able to help me in a lot of different things because she can see things I don't see, because I'm not at a certain stage of development, because I don't have certain responsibilities that some of the men in her life have. So she can see some of my deficiencies just off that. So I wanted to say that because it's been an extended amount of time. And this thing that we do as self-employed people is really not easy. At least it's not easy for me, right? I don't know about anybody else, but it's not easy. The way I go about doing it and the way I go about doing certain things, it's not a cakewalk. I'm very, very deliberate in what products I put out. I'm very deliberate in what things I attach myself to. I'm very deliberate in what I say, to try to promote stuff, because I want to make sure that my legacy in this particular area is going to mean something when it's over. It's not going to just be, I did whatever just because that was way in which I could make me some money. Because if it was just about making money, I could attach myself to a lot of stuff and do a lot of things and it will bring in more money. However, the benefit that I've been able to provide in people's lives, that's part of the reward. And then as a business person, I just have to figure out how can I build a business model around that to where I can sustain myself. Because one thing I do know in real life is most people on social media don't really care about you. So if something happens, you're going to have to figure it out. So you can't always think about what's going to make them happy. You sometimes got to think about what's the best thing for you and your business and your family. Because if something goes wrong, they're not going to come help you out because they got their own issues. But I want to thank Miss Alexander because she never tried to put me in a role of you need to entertain more to do more business. You need to become more performative to do more business. She never came at me from those particular angles. And for a lot of people, that's the only value they see, that you're just here to entertain them and to perform for them. And then they think that justifies them giving you some money. But it kind of depends on what kind of person that is and what they got going on. So these are the things I'm thankful for, but I wanted to give her a special shout out because, like I said, she stood the test of time. She's not a fly-by-nighter. And this is really how you really build real community and family, is you build it by people that got staying power. You can't build it by people to where every 30, 60 days, they on something different. Or they feel a certain way in the morning, they feel a certain way in the evening, or they're trying to sabotage situations. These things are built over time, and they're built with people that's going to stand the test of time, because I'm going to tell you again, you do not know what you got with somebody till y'all been through something. That's how life works. And it takes time for things to present themselves in your life for you to know what you got. That's just reality. Now, I know social media and internet want to tell something different, but okay, cool, keep on. That's why you see so much of this stuff happening, because people are trying to buy into this idea of everything has to go good for it to be acceptable. And I learned from a guy, y'all know who this is. Some of y'all know who Sam Ovens is, and something he really would hammer into people that went to his mastermind. I don't know because I went to his mastermind. I know because I used to absorb some of his content early on before he got real big. He says the goal of management is to manage the downside. He says the upside is easy, as long as you got good budgeting. He says the goal of management in a business is to manage when things are going bad. That's when you know how good of a business operator you are. But we live in a world where people think the goal is to only deal with the good side of the situation. So they try to figure out how to always make it seem like everything's going good. And we're not talking about a woe is me story. We're not talking about the people that get on the internet in a very monotone voice and tell people that, they have some type of neurodivergent personality. That's why they have all the issues. No, I'm talking about how do we deal with situations when they go south really shows us where we're at as operators, and really shows what kind of relationship we really have, because these things are going to happen. And as a business owner, what I would never want to happen is for me to have 10 years of success with no trials and tribulations, because if all I know is success, when the trials and tribulations come, it's going to wipe me out because I never experienced it before. So that's what I'm thankful for. Hopefully I wasn't rambling, but I want to really encourage you in 26, but really you should start today. Start working on building good relationships with people. People that are really going to be there for you long term are going to be few and far in between. That's just how life is. You're going to have a lot of associates, but you're not going to have a lot of friends. But really think about building really, really good, solid relationships with people that are going to stand the test of time with you, that really see the real value that you add to the situation. They're not just caught up in the emotionalism of it. They really see tangibly the value that you add to their life because you've been able to do it. But also work with people to where they see the intrinsic value in you that has nothing to do with what you can do for them. Hope you got some value from it. David W. Williams, also known as a retail trader. Talk to you later.